Hello YouTube, back once again with the Legends of Tomorrow reviews, and here we are with episode 6, Star City 2046, and I was super excited for this episode, considering where last week's episode left off with, with the gang meeting what seems to be a new Green Arrow in a dystopian version of Star City, and, yeah, in this episode, I would say it delivered for two-thirds of the plot delivered. Last third was really painful to get through, so let me just talk about the third story in this episode. It's Ray and Jax on the ship, both hitting on Kendra. It was just usually it probably would have been that annoying if the other two lines weren't so interesting and you weren't like, yeah, why do you have to be taking away time to do this stupid comedy relief? Because there were a few decent jokes, like mainly from Dr. Stein, like that made me smile, but for the most part, I'm like, why do we have to go through this? Can't we go back to all the cool stuff going on with the dystopian Star City? So yeah, that was the real flaw of this episode. That sucked. But the other two plot lines were actually really good this week. One, there was the plot line. What happens is Rip, Sarah, Snart, and Mick, they go off the ship to get the get the piece of technology, and when that's going on, basically Mick becomes a new gang leader. I thought that was really funny, that just when the gang leader's just messing with him, and then he just shoots the guy. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, no, Mick is actually, though, he actually really likes this world, but Snart, and he wants to stay in this role, but Snart's like, no, we have to go. And this actually led to a really interesting thing where basically these two are starting to have a fallout with each other, in which it basically it ends with just Snart dragging Mick back to the ship against his will, and Mick just basically saying to him, like, look, I know you want to be a hero now, because Snart seems it seems very clear now that Snart is actually in this to save the world more than just wanting to be just continue to steal things, but Mick just basically says, like, no, you're here, like, I'm not here to save the world, I'm just here to profit off of this, and so that was all really interesting. I'm super excited for next week's episode, because it seems to be gonna be all about these two's fallout with each other. But while that's going on so that was all really interesting, but the best part of this episode was all the stuff that involved the new Green Arrow and the dystopian Star City. Basically what happens is Sarah and Rip, they end up meeting the new Green Arrow, who turns out to be John Diggle's son. I thought that was a good reveal, that he was John's son. That was a good choice to who to make him. And it turns out the city was taken over by, well, this was the real disappointment of this episode. You think it's Deathstroke, but then it turns out to be Deathstroke's son. And I was really bummed out when what looked like Deathstroke removed his mask, and it wasn't the original Deathstroke. Oh, God, I just forgot the character's name. You know, villain for the second season. Because, God, Slade Wilson. I was so sad it was not Slade Wilson, because, God, was that guy. That guy, can everyone agree he's the best villain that ever came out of the Arrow and Flash and now Legends of Tomorrow universe, because, so yeah, no, the guy who plays his son did a good job at seeming threatening, but, it just wasn't Slade Wilson. That really bummed me out. But anyway, the new Green Arrow, Connor, he brings Rip and Sarah to the old Green Arrow lair, it's a good shot, just seeing this place in complete ruins. And then there they find a very old and depressed, sad and decaying Oliver. Only has one arm. Makeup on Stephen Amell was pretty bad, I gotta say, especially that beard. That looked like something out of a Halloween costume shop. But besides that, though, Stephen Amell did give a good performance, just seeming like just completely broken. He just says to Sarah, like, look, after everyone we know and love is dead. They're all gone. There's just, like, and I'm like, and honestly, like, if you and Ray were here, you could have probably stopped this. So, yeah, that was all really good, and then this all led to a really good climax in which, basically, Connor gets captured, and Rip says, no, we can't help this guy. And then, like, Sarah's like, no, but this is the future. I need to make it better. And Rip is just basically saying, like, no, look, this is just a possible future, and we're not supposed to change these possible things. And then Sarah's like, but that's exactly what we're trying to do with your family now, isn't it, you goddamn hypocrites? And, so yeah, all the stuff between Sarah and Rip was really good this week. And basically they're contrasting ideas on how they should deal with time. Just because Sarah just basically says, like, look, even if me and Ray do make it, it turns out this is only because me and Ray were not there in the timeline at the moment. What happens if we both die during our adventures through time? Like, this is still going to be the future. We should make it better. And yeah, so this led to a really good climax in which basically Rip basically just says fuck it, and first it starts with Sarah, an older, convincing Oliver to pick up the bow again, and then hit Connor and Oliver all having a really good climax with Slade, the new Slade's gang, Slade Jr.'s gang. That was all really good, and then when everyone else shows up and helps them fight, that was all really cool. Then this led to a really nice satisfying moment in which, like, it just ended with just Oliver being like, thank you, Sarah, and then you just see Oliver and Connor looking like they're gonna keep fighting, like, for their city, like, just cleaning out the hideout again, like fixing it up. So very satisfying little stuff with that. I hope it goes back to this place at some time, because yeah, and so all around good episode, really good episode. It could have been great if there wasn't that 1/3 of all the crap on the ship, but the other two plot lines, the stuff with the dystopian Star City and the stuff with Snart and Mix falling out was all really great this week. Yeah, so I gotta say, at the moment, I honestly think I think Sarah's my favorite character out of any of the Legends. She always seems to be my favorite plot lines of every week, and yeah, and so, which is really interesting, considering Laurel is probably the worst character in all of Flash and Arrow. So, yeah, but I gotta say, probably at the moment, Sarah's my favorite character. Yeah, but great episode. Super excited about next week's episode if it does focus on Snart and Mix falling out with each other. And that's my thoughts on this week's episode. YouTube, as always, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.